Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we dig into the sources you share articles, research notes, and, well, pull out those key nuggets of knowledge.
That's the idea.
And today, we're diving into something I think is really transformative. It's from Chapter 1 of James Clear's book, often known as Atomic Habits.
Right. Cognitive Ecology, I think caveat,
Yep.
a bestseller for a reason.
Exactly. And our mission today is really to unpack the core ideas in just this first chapter, the ones that kind of challenge how we usually think about success, about making changes.
Yeah, and chapter 1 really sets the stage perfectly. It lays out the whole groundwork for understanding how these tiny, almost invisible actions can lead to, well, pretty remarkable results down the line.
Okay, so let's get right into it. If we're talking about making real lasting change, where does Clear even begin in this chapter? What's the big idea that kicks everything off?
He starts with a pretty bold statement, actually. Right at the beginning, he says, "Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations."
So forget the massive overnight change.
Exactly. It immediately shifts your focus from, those big dramatic events to the small, consistent things you do every day.
Yeah.
Almost the mundane stuff.
Okay.
And then he introduces the core concept, these atomic habits. Tiny little changes that might seem minor on their own.
Right, like one push-up or reading one page.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But they compound over time. That's the key. They build on each other to produce really significant outcomes later on.
That definitely feels, well, counterintuitive, doesn't it? We're sort of wired to look for the big win, the dramatic makeover, the instant result.
We are.
So how does he explain the power of these tiny actions? What's the mechanism he talks about?
Well, what's fascinating here, I think, is the math he uses. He brings in this concept he calls the 1% principle.
Okay, the 1% principle.
Yeah. Think about it like this. If you manage to get just 1% better each day for a year, just 1%, you'll actually end up 37 times better by the end of that year.
37 times! Wow!
Right. But the flip side is also true. If you get 1% worse each day, you basically slide all the way down, almost to zero.
That's stark.
It really is. And it highlights how we tend to overestimate the importance of one big moment, that defining breakthrough.
Yeah, we wait for the lightning strike.
Exactly. And we totally underestimate the value of just making small, consistent improvements daily, things you might not even notice day to day.
That 1% idea, it really forces a rethink on progress. It's all about that compounding effect, isn't it? Slow burn, not a firework.
Totally.
But, okay, if these tiny steps are so powerful, why do so many of us, still struggle? Why is it so hard to stick with good habits or ditch the bad ones?
Well, Clear suggests it might be because we're focusing on the wrong thing.
The wrong thing. Like what?
Not just our goals, but our systems.
Systems. Okay, unpack that. Goals versus systems.
Right. So goals are about the results you want. Lose 10 pounds, write a book, run a marathon. The outcome. Systems, on the other hand, are the processes that lead to those results. The daily routines, the habits themselves. Like your system for writing might be write 500 words every morning.
Okay, I see the distinction.
And here's where it gets really interesting. He makes this powerful argument. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Ooh, say that again. You don't rise to the level of your goals.
You fall to the level of your systems. It's a huge perspective shift.
Yeah, it really is.
Think about what that means for you, the listener. If you're struggling to change a habit, the problem isn't necessarily you. It's not about willpower failure. It's likely the system you're using, your process. Bad habits keep repeating, he argues, not because you secretly want them to, but because you have a flawed system for change.
It's not a character flaw, it's a design flaw.
Exactly. Which, honestly, is pretty empowering, right?
It is, actually.
Yeah.
Because a system, well, you can redesign a system.
Precisely. It takes the blame off, sort of, I'm lazy or I lack discipline, and puts the focus on, okay, what's wrong with my approach?
Which is a much more constructive question.
Absolutely. It's actionable. You're still responsible, of course, for building a better system, but it reframes the whole challenge.
Yeah.
And it is that important question. If the system is the key, where should you actually be putting your effort?
That really resonates. I remember trying for years to, say, get fitter by just focusing on the goal, the number on the scale, right?
Common trap.
Total trap.
Yeah.
And it was only when I shifted focus to the system, like making sure I laid out my gym clothes the night before or prepping healthy lunches on Sunday, that things actually started to change. Consistent.
And it probably felt less dramatic. Right,
Right.
less like a constant battle.
Totally. Almost anticlimactic. Just this is what I do now. So, thinking about all this, what does it really boil down to for someone listening who wants to make a change? What are the core takeaways from this first chapter?
Okay, so if we pull out the key principles from chapter 1, I'd say there are three main ones.
Right.
First, focus on your trajectory, not just your current position.
Yeah.
It's less about where you are right now and more about whether your daily habits are putting you on the right path. Are you trending upwards, even slow?
Direction over speed, almost.
Kind of, yeah, direction over current location.
Mhm.
Second, really internalize that compound effect of small changes. We've hit this already, but it's crucial. Tiny, consistent efforts add up to massive results over time. Don't dismiss small improvements.
Got it. Trajectory, compound effect. And the third.
Process over outcomes. Focusing on building good systems, refining your processes, rather than just obsessing over the end goal. That's what creates change that actually sticks.
So the system is the engine, the goal is just the destination. You need the engine running right.
Beautifully put. That's exactly it.
It feels like this chapter is really the philosophical heart of the whole book then. It's not just introducing ideas, it's fundamentally shifting your perspective before you even get to the how-to strategies later on.
Absolutely. It challenges that conventional wisdom about needing huge bursts of motivation or radical transformations. It sets the stage by saying, no, there's a quieter, more sustainable way. These tiny atomic habits built on solid systems. It's the why that makes the how make sense.
So wrapping up our dive into this foundational chapter, what we've really explored is this quiet power, right? The often unseen impact of just showing up consistently day in, day out with those small actions.
Yeah, it's not about the headline grabbing leaves. It's the steady, persistent, almost invisible steps that truly shape things.
Okay, so to leave our listeners with something to chew on.
Right. If success really does come from daily habits, and if you fall to the level of your systems, here's a provocative thought for you.
Lay it on us.
What is one tiny, almost unnoticeable tweak you could make to one of your systems today? Just one small adjustment that might completely change where you end up a year from now.